Good evening, Council, Gallery. I'd like to call the Tuesday, February 13th, 2024 regular meeting of Council to order. First up on the agenda is adoption of this evening's agenda with a slight amendment, please, Council, by removing items 5.1 and 5.4. Motion, please. Councillor Pearson, Councillor Blanchette. Any further amendments, additions, or deletions? All in favor? It's carried. Under 3.1, we need to adopt the minutes of the January 23rd, 2024 regular meeting in Council. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. We have a delegation before us under 4.1, representing the Valemount Secondary School, Miss Madeline Shaw. Please. And welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Madeline.
I am Rosina.
We wanted to come and quickly thank you for supporting us in going to the British Columbia Youth Parliament in December. To give a bit of an overview on what we did, BCYP... yeah.
I'm just going to adjust the HVAC, and if you could just pull that mic slightly towards you so the folks at home can share the same experience that we are. Thank you. We'll just take a slight pause. My old ears. Yeah. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah, so to give a bit of an overview on what we did, BCYP acts as a mock parliament in the way that we debate and pass legislation according to parliamentary procedure. The legislation we pass over the 5 days in the legislature is what sets out the plans for our service projects that year. This year, and many years in the past, BCYP's main project is Camp Phoenix, which is a camp for kids who otherwise may not be able to attend summer camp. Last year, I was a cabin leader at Camp Phoenix, and I fundraised for Camp Phoenix. Last year, all the fundraising I did for BCYP went towards Camp Phoenix. It requires a lot of fundraising because most of the time the camp fee is waived just because of the children who go to the camp. And Rosina is this year applying to Camp Phoenix, so yeah. Overall, BCYP is a very valuable experience because it not only teaches parliamentary procedure and debate skills, but also prioritizes youth community service. I think BCYP is a great opportunity for youth in Valemount and allows them to meet like-minded individuals. I hope that the Council sees BCYP as a valuable experience for youth in Valemount and continues to support students going to BCYP in the future. Thank you guys for your support in us going this year, and we can answer any questions about BCYP if you have them.
Thank you so much. Motion to receive the delegation, please. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor MacLean.
We brought you. There's a phone.
We may approach the table.
Please. To Anne, please. Thank you. Thank you. Any comments, questions for the delegation? Councillor Blanchette.
How many were there, like overall?
Yeah, so there's 96 people, and they're from 16 to 21. So
Good for you guys.
From all over BC. There's not a lot from the northern interior. We're in the northern interior region. Mainly Vancouver, Victoria. I think there's like 8 of us this year, which is pretty big. The last 2 years for the north have been a lot larger than in the past. Like for most of, I think, BCYP, there's only been like 3 or 4 people from the northern interior, so there's not a lot of representation compared to Vancouver, Victoria. And when you go to do stuff like Camp Phoenix, it's a lot more work. Like you have to fly into the training because they require you to be at training for 3 days. So they pay 50% of flights for Camp Phoenix, but I'm not sure how that will go this coming year because I don't think they fully realize what it would cost to bring somebody from the northern interior to that kind of stuff, because I don't think it happens a lot. So that's, yeah.
Well, more and more every year, right? You said no, last year or this year was 8, so maybe next year there'll be 9 or 10.
Yeah, there's a lot from Tumbler Ridge. There's like 4 from Tumbler Ridge.
Oh wow,
So, yeah,
okay.
I know there's a lot from Tumbler Ridge.
Not this year.
No. Yeah, maybe Valemount. Maybe they'll be the new Tumbler Ridge.
Follow-up, Councillor?
No, that's great. Thank you.
Councillor Pearson?
Yeah, I'm just curious, so whereabouts is Camp Phoenix and what age groups does it represent?
Yeah, so Camp Phoenix last year was in Souk. It's 8 to 12 inclusive, so they kind of it kind of varies. Like if there's somebody who's 7, sometimes I let them in, but usually it's about 8 to 12. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Very cool. Further questions, comments? Thank you so much for the coming and presenting your experience with the BC Youth Parliament. And, you know, who knows? We have budget season coming up, and perhaps it's something we will take under consideration for future support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments? All in favor of receipt? It's carried. Oh, look at that. No motion required. Old habits. A couple items, council, under correspondence for action, under 6.1, Northern Health, request for support for a mobile dental unit grant funding. Councillor Blanchette.
Recuse myself as I work for Northern Health.
Thank you very much. So continuing under 6.1, Northern Health is looking for a letter of support for a grant funding application for a mobile dental program. What's council's wish? Moved by Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor Mulyk. I couldn't be happier to support something like this. No, this is outstanding. Any further comments? All in favor? It's carried. Can we have Councillor Blanchette in, and I will step out for 6.2 and 6.3 as I am a voting member of the board of VARDA. So I will ask Councillor Pearson to take over for 6.2 and 6.3, please.
Okay, item 6.2, project Pump It Up, request for support for Northern Development Trust grant funding. Recommendation that a letter be provided to Project Pump It Up in support of their funding application for the Northern Development Initiative Trust Community Places Grant. Councillor MacLean, Councillor Mulyk. Discussion? Hearing none. All.
Just to say, it's just such a natural progression for us, so I'm really happy to see this and happy to support it.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? Carried. Item 6.3, Valemount Area Recreation Development Association request for support for Pacific Can Grant. Recommendation that a letter be provided to the Valemount Area Recreation Development Association in support of their funding application to the Pacific Can Grant Program. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Mulyk. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Under 6.4, Valemount Community Sports Day Association looking for use of village property for Valemount Days, and with a recommendation from staff that council gives approval for Valemount Community Sports Day Association to proceed with Valemount Days at the Valemount Sportsplex for the 2024 festival. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, second by Councillor MacLean. Discussion. Get your floats ready. Budget season. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. And another request from the Valemount Community Sports Day Association, 6.5, looking for approval for the Valemount Sports Day Association to proceed with the creation of a master plan for the Sportsplex property. Moved by Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion. There will be considerable, I hope, community input for such an endeavor with, I would hope, a 20 or 25, 30-year outlook for that parcel, meaning that if there are other amenities, facilities that are identified that would be better suited for that property versus, say, a ball field for right now, that's put in at least on a radar of some form. Any further discussion? I'm looking forward to it. All in favor? It's carried. Fairly comprehensive reading file. How would, does council wish to bring any of this to the surface? Looking for yours, Councillor Pearson?
Fighting through this thing.
I'll just comment on a couple of them. You're seeing sort of the first rollouts of EDMA, so the Emergency and Disaster Management Act, some funding decisions, working with Indigenous communities. Also, a lot of support from the Northern Development Initiative Trust, especially with our internship their internship program and their grant writing support. Always awesome to have our partners at NDIT. And defer to you, Councillor Pearson. He found it.
Finally found it. Need a bigger screen. So it would be item number 6, Trans Mountain flood activities. It was interesting read, considering the reports on the delays in the other parts of the line, that they're actually going to start putting product, or potentially in this product. So so it's interesting read, and just for everybody's awareness, potential nitrogen leaks and so on and so forth. So that was it, just more of a public awareness.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? On to administrative reports. 8.1, the quarterly from the CAO. Any discussion? Maybe I'll defer to Madam Administrator for any additional comments.
Thank you, Your Worship. Seeing as it's the first quarterly report, I thought an introduction might put it in context. I want to start by acknowledging Ms. Vivian Kenkel, who is a talented young woman who has an eye for presenting information visually. She was a great help in putting this together. It's a first draft. It doesn't include all the functions and divisions of the municipality as of yet. There's a lot of missing information yet that we're still working on figuring out how we will collect and present that. Some of the information may benefit from being presented differently in charts or graphs or text. It's again, it is a first draft. We're working on the look, and we'll refine it over the next few reports. We're also working on content, identifying the information we have that may help council in decision making, especially once we start adding trends and comparisons. And you may have noted there's a number of other important functions in the community for a couple of reasons. One, we collect taxes on behalf of the regional district, and these are some of the benefits that the community gains from those taxes. And two, agencies such as the RCMP provide important measurable services to the community, and reporting back to councils is common for these. It's one of their mandates that they are to remain in touch with the local council. The RCMP will be reporting quarterly, but other additional service providers may only show up on the report once a year. We haven't quite figured that part out yet. One additional report came in too late for the agenda, but you have it in paper form in front of you, and that's the VCTV statistics. Thank you, Mr. Peters, for putting those together. Finally, I discussed with Mayor Torgerson whether there had been a council motion to have the accounts payable report on the agenda. He assured me that there was not, or he did not believe that there had been. I'm quite sure we're about the last community in BC that still does this. It's a holdover from pre-community charter days. And so just as a farewell for council, this is your last accounts payable report. So, and that's it. Mayor
Thank you very
Torgerson.
much. Any questions on 8.1? Comments? Councillor Blanchette?
It's absolutely fantastic. A lot of us are visual people, and the color, the font, all of it. So kudos to Vivian. I think it's terrific.
Councillor Mulyk?
Yeah, just to add to that, this time of year, the reams of information that I've been reading and trying to digest, seeing something like this was a breath of fresh air because it's so clear and concise. Yeah, kudos for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pearson?
Yeah, I mean, I love the format. I mean, I like the original one we saw for the visitor center, so wasn't a big surprise that Vivian was tasked with this one. It's great to see the additional service providers included. That's some great information on there, so it's really good to see.
Thank you. Final thoughts, Councillor MacLean?
It's pretty much all been said.
Thank you.
I thought it was fantastic as well.
No motion required, so on to 8.2, looking for any sort of comments and or discussion on the last accounts payable quarterly report.
I'm sure our GOF is very upset about this. A traumatic event.
Yes. Councillor Pearson?
That 1/3 of my reading gone now. I don't have.
What about check 826431? Goodbye, accounts payable quarterly report. We will miss you. 8.3, Carleena Task Force update and appointment recommendation. Looking to have Ryan Olson be appointed to the Carleena Task Force for a 1-year term. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor MacLean. Discussion. Councillor MacLean, Blanchette.
Whoever I am. I'd just like to thank all of the citizens who did put their name forward for this committee. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to have more on the committee because they're a great value.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All in favor? It's carried. Under 8.4, the UBCM Active Transportation Planning Grant. Looking that council approves staff to apply to the UBCM Active Transportation Planning Grant for the maximum amount. There it is, $20,000 toward the development of Parks, Recreation, Trails Master Plan. Moved by Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion. Councillor Pearson.
Yeah, I think this is a great start towards getting an amalgamated trail system in the community.
I had some feedback from the former Mayor Fernie, where they started at 20 and it quickly leveraged into 50, 75, 125, 150. And then once they had their Parks, Recreation, Trails Master Plan, there was more funding out there because there was a plan in place. So looking forward to see how that can roll out. Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Section 9, bylaws and policies, 9.1, amendment to the travel allowances policy number 38. Oh, we're going back to 38, cool. And we're looking to approve the travel allowance policy number 38 as amended. Moved by Councillor MacLean, second by Councillor Mulyk. Taking dollar figures out and putting CRA sort of best practices in. You know, so the policy will automatically change as federal legislation changes as well. All in favor? It's carried. 9.2, Film Policy 95, and before I have it moved, we do have the Economic Development Officer here with us, should you have any questions. And we're looking to approve the Film Policy number 95. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor Pearson. Are there any questions, comments? Councillor Blanchette.
They say BC is Vancouver or Hollywood North, so that's us. So let's get everybody coming here to make films. You can't miss it, right?
But you're absolutely right. And to directly to the EDO, to my recollection, this is her first report to council.
Yes.
Thank you so much for a policy that has language that covers a multitude of mitigative opportunities. Thank you so much.
Language we can understand.
Language we can understand. Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 9.3, Councillor Blanchette.
Myself as I work for Urban Health. Someday I'll have one job.
And under 9.3, looking to approve the village rental policy, rental property pet policy 95. A lot of P's in there. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Mulyk, not a P over there. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. I don't know new business was identified this evening. Is there a notice of motion to be brought forward? Then it's time for council reports, and if we could just take a pause. I seem to have misplaced mine. It'll be on my desk. I'll be right back. I think. Yeah. Weird. Perfect.
We've decided all sorts of things.
I bet. On that decision, we'll start with Councillor Blanchette.
Alrighty. So February 1st, as you know, we had the Clean Air Task Force, and again, I'd just like to thank everybody that puts their names forward. It's something close to my heart, and I think Councillor MacLean and I both see it going forward with the huge help from Ms. Shepherd. So thank you. On February 8th, we had our governance strat planning, which was very great. We all showed up, we all came, staff was here, council was here. It was a good reminder, you know, you forget things over the years, and so thank you very much for putting that together. And a huge congratulations to our mayor, who on achieving his level 3 certification for government leadership.
Wow, thank you very much.
Fantastic, congrats.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pearson.
All right, January 26th, they had Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association, which is a hybrid board meeting. February 8th as well, with mayor, council, CAO, and senior staff for a team refresher, and a committee of the whole for strategic plan review and updates. Yeah, it was a good day. Ran about 10 minutes too long because I missed getting to the post office. Wasn't happy. And then, not directly related, but February 11th, Super Bowl day, unfortunately, I sat through a panel of interviews for the Northern and Rural Panel Interviews. And these are students applying to the UBC Northern and Rural Pathway Program. And it helps determine the aptitude and attraction for these students to practice in northern and rural communities. It was a great process, had some really good candidates. It was a long day, but it was really good. And the one thing I did note in the information was a coffee poll was done some years ago, to help define rural and remote. And so it defined that a rural community was lacking a Starbucks or a Second Cup, and a remote community lacked a Tim Hortons. So at least we're not remote. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Back across the room, Councillor Mulyk.
On February 1st, I attended the Ready Grant Adjudication Committee, the first meeting, and was really happy to see that we've got potentially a few dollars more than what we even originally thought, due to some money being returned and some money from last year being, or some of the projects being under budget. So it's looking really good, and just to mention, February 15th is that date that you got to have those submissions in. And I look forward to having some really good ones this year, as we got last year. February 6th, Entertainment Society meeting, and Michael, actually, it's funny, he passed this out tonight, saying, the just under 40,000 YouTube views, and all of these numbers, which are pretty substantial, a lot of accomplishments this year. But what I wanted to mention, though, before I even saw this, was that his biggest challenge is coming up right now, because one of the satellites is actually dying, and so he's having to shift all the channels over to the other one. So in the next couple of weeks, that's going to be keeping Michael busy. And so check social media to find out what channels are moving when and where, and what disruptions might happen. All I can say is good thing the Super Bowl was already done, because we did get and it was on the newest channel this year, the CBS, so got to see all the American commercials as well. On February 8th, I attended the governance refresher and strategy priorities review with the mayor and council and the senior staff of the village. I found that very informative, and look forward to future endeavors, future meetings to cover things. And so just wearing my tourism hat, February 17th, we've got the family days coming up, and just back to social media, look at and see all the things that are being offered for young and old. So I look forward to seeing lots of participation, and hopefully just a little bit more snow maybe. That's it for me.
It'll definitely be winter.
Say young and younger.
Pardon me?
Say young and younger, not old and younger, or younger and old.
Well, I watched Jon Stewart last night,
Oh, geez.
and we were talking about older and younger and stuff.
You know what category we're in, right?
Councillor MacLean.
Thank you. February 1st, I too attended the Clean Air Task Force meeting. On the afternoon of February 8th, I, along with the rest of council and senior staff, participated in a governance refresher and strategic priorities review. It was a good review, and we appreciated CAO Yanciw's efforts to make it interactive and interesting. Yesterday, I attended a virtual meeting with the Columbia Basin Trust Local Government Committee meeting. There's nothing to report out from that, but this committee will meet in person later this month in Nelson, which, weather cooperating, I plan to attend. We continue to move ahead with developing our local government committee strategy for the coming year.
Nice. Thank you very much. The 24th and 25th of January was spent virtually in Prince George with the Regional District Agriculture Standing Committee. We also had a committee of the whole for the regional services budget, Environment and Parks Committee, Cemetery Board of Trustees, Regional Hospital District Board. We had a closed session and an open session. The morning of the 26th, virtually in Fruitvale, had a Columbia Basin Trust Executive Committee, and then the afternoon, a regular session of their board. A couple of approved committee subsidiary assignments approved by the board. So I'll be continuing on as a director on the Columbia Basin Broadband Corporation subsidiary, continuing my role as the chair of the Housing Initiatives Committee. I'll be vice chair of the executive committee. I've been named vice chair of the board and the trust liaison to the Northwest Power and Conservation Council in the U.S. January 27th, we concluded the CBT board meeting. February 1st, had the Resort Communities Collaborative Advocacy Committee meeting, sort of just fleshing out some last-minute details on what Victoria might look like, and we're looking to meet with the Premier, Minister of Tourism, Minister of Finance, during the sitting of the legislature, so in those 4-day blocks leading up into April. February 8th, had a hashtag Team Valemount Governance Review and Strategic Priorities Committee of the Whole. It's always great when the whole team can get together and have opinions on a multitude of recent and less recent decisions. February 9th, Northern Health Connections Bus Committee meeting. And then that evening, or that night, had a wonderful fundraiser through the Varda Pump It Up movie night. And one of those productions involved Jay Bearhead, an Indigenous person who grew up in a residential school, found the love of bikes, found the life of a pro that led to not great decisions leading to addiction, and then the love of bikes pulling him out of addiction. It was pretty cool. And then last night had an update, Project Pump It Up committee with Varda and Velo Solutions, looking at various layouts of what that pump track may look like. So a couple of concepts that came back from Velo, and a decision or a recommendation coming from that committee to the Varda board, moving with Velo versus other designers, contractors, simply because of their internationally renowned. They do projects all over the planet, and it's the only design that meets the specifications of some pump track racing organization. So should that project go ahead, it'll be top notch. That's my report. Any questions? Okay, 13.1, you have a calendar of events for your review, and we also have time for public comment under 14.1. Are there any public comments on items considered by council as part of this approved agenda? Mostly staff.
We did give you chocolate.
Ollie, did you want to have a public? No? Okay. Last chance. All right. So council hereby will give notice under 15.1 to proceed to an in-camera council meeting for consideration of 2 items per section 91A and E of the Community Charter to discuss matters related to A, personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality, another position appointed by the municipality, and E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements if council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interest of the municipality. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor Mulyk. All in favor? It's carried, and that concludes our open session.